Good morning, welcome, and thank all of you for being here on what fortunately turned out to be a beautiful day. And we want to give a special welcome to Mayor Greg Fisher and Mayor Greg Fisher. You recognize him, it's okay. And to council members Scott Reed and Paula McCraney, and thank them for joining us here too. I am Carol Ely. I'm the Executive Director of Historic Locust Grove, and today is a really exciting day for all of us who are here. Board members, volunteers, staff, friends, members, donors, we welcome all of you. Locust Grove is a window into our past. It's a window that we're privileged to continue to learn from, evolve with every day. As we introduce this new space to the community, I'm so glad to be joined by all of the many friends who helped us arrive at this moment. One of those friends is Metro Council member Scott Reed, who would like to offer his own remarks on this celebratory day.
Thank you, Carol. I remember when all of this was just a blueprint, and this was only 4 or 5 years ago, so to me this is pretty remarkable. Good morning. I'm honored to say a few words to celebrate the continued efforts to expand and enhance this community gem and national landmark historic Locust Grove. I'm proud to say that Locust Grove is located in the 16th district of Metro Louisville, and while many of the dedicated board members and volunteers come from District 16, there are also many others who understand and support this important landmark who come from other parts of the community. I'm also proud to say that my office has helped lead the way as Metro Council has made significant financial contributions toward this campaign in the last few years. While these funds have been helpful in getting to this day, the Metro Council support pales in comparison to the amount of time and funds raised by Carol Ely, as well as past board president Hunter Lewis and current board president Chris Chappell, and many of the other persons who have served as past or current members of the Locust Grove board. Historic Locust Grove is important not only for its historic relevance, but also for the educational opportunities it provides future generations. Locust Grove also has a special place for me because it serves as a beautiful backdrop for town halls and other meetings held by my office and others as we work on plans for the next century of Louisville's development and progress. Thank you again to the staff, board members, and donors to this capital campaign, and I look forward to seeing everybody here for my next town hall meeting. And I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor Greg Fisher.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. It certainly is great to be here. My Locust Grove story is, it's hard to believe how time flies. I don't know if any of y'all feel this way or not, but it was some 45 to 50 years ago, I would join my friends in these ultimate Frisbee games on this very field right here every weekend. So I had a lot of friends that lived in this area as well. So it's just been great to see how Locust Grove has really evolved and expanded over the years, and I'm really thrilled to be here for this recently completed pavilion at what is one of the most historic and beautiful places here in our city. Lots of upgrades going on, continuous investment as well. Glad to be joined by my council colleagues, Councilman Reed, Councilwoman McCraney. Thank you guys for all that you do as well. So when you think about the bigger picture here, you see a tremendous piece of architecture here. De Leon and Primer, the folks that you all chose to do this project, I think are some of the best in the country. They just happen to be here in Louisville. And their thoughtful approach, along with the owners of the property or the managers of the project, have done a great job, integrating what is here in terms of the stone, the look of the wood, the siding of this facility over the grounds is just spectacular. So thank you guys for the wonderful job that you did here and choosing a great local architect as well. This is going to be a future site of many, many great gatherings here as well, and we'll give people time to really appreciate the wonderful job here. And when you think about the pavilion too, it brings a lot of things together, especially with how we're thinking in America right now, because it's incumbent on us to grow along with time. And this structure answers certainly a need that we had here at Locust Grove for today and tomorrow to accommodate what we needed to have more people in a beautiful space like this. And so that accommodation also goes for the stories that we learn here from Locust Grove. Locust Grove, as we know, is very rich in history, settled by George Rogers Clark and the William Croghan family back in the 18th century. And there's more to the history of this place, and it too is important to learn and to learn from. History is not static. As we all know, there's a lot of conversation about what is history. Is history what we just read in the history books when we grew up, or is there more to history? Well, you can certainly learn more about history here at Locust Grove as the full story of Locust Grove is being told. Our understanding of history evolves the more we know and the more we learn from it. And that's an exciting thing, right? It's interesting. One of the priorities of my administration has been to tell the full history of Louisville. Most history is a white-centric history, and you're seeing that change now in our country, in our city, in our state. And that's a beautiful thing because it allows us more to understand who we are, where we came from, and most importantly, where we're going in the future and where our children are going to take us. William Faulkner said, "The past is never dead. It's not even past." And that is so true. Facts from our history inform the present and the future, and understanding who we were and where we came from gives us the power to direct the sails of who we became and where we are going. And that part of that history certainly is here. It's the difficult lives of dozens of enslaved African Americans who lived and worked at Locust Grove during the Crogans' residency from 1790 to 1849. This conversation makes some people uncomfortable, and on the other hand, it makes some people appreciative to know who we are as a people. Some of these enslaved African Americans were born here, others were purchased and brought here to do the hard work of building the house and outbuildings, planting and harvesting crops, preserving and cooking meals, stitching the clothes, washing the laundry, watching the children, distilling the whiskey, and many, many other tasks as well. Carol told me that the whiskey distilling would have been happening at the creek.
Right, Muddy Fork on the other side of the Riverwood development.
Right, by where the mill house would be, so that makes sense from a logistical standpoint. So at the peak of the farm's operations in 1820, more than 40 enslaved African Americans labored on this property right here. None of them had much control over their lives at the time. So it's important for us now to bring color back to the lives that they have. So their stories live now. They're being told here today at Locust Grove, along with the stories of Clark and the Crogans. And that's why one of the tours here at Locust Grove, as you all will know, is called Unfolding the Story. And it covers the lives of an enslaved laundress, Louisa, and an enslaved distillery assistant, Alfred, here in 1816. So just as Locust Grove is a place for personal celebrations, and there's going to be a lot of them taken here, it's also a great place, and especially here now as we look over these beautiful fields, for community contemplation and growth. I want to congratulate Locust Grove's Executive Director, Dr. Carol Ely, who so ably leads us here. She's declaring the space here we dedicate today as a space belonging to all Louisvillians, a place where we can reflect and learn from the past as we work on a better and more equitable present and future. So again, Dr. Ely, I'd like to thank you for your tireless efforts in preserving all of the history of Locust Grove. I want to commend you, the board. Most of the money that you all raised here, you raised privately, as you well know. And that's not always an easy thing to do, but it's the type of persistence and tenacity that leads to a beautiful finished project like you have here today. So thank you all for building this and dedicating this treasure to the citizens of Louisville. God bless.
Well, Mayor Fisher spoke so eloquently about Locust Grove. I'm not sure I have too much to add, but I will add a little, given the opportunity. So thank you, both of you, all of you, for your remarks. Locust Grove is where Louisville begins. The history of this site is important in telling the early stories of Louisville and Kentucky. But for the past 10 years, Locust Grove has been working to transform this historic site into a place that meets the needs and interests of the 21st century community in all of its diversity. We've heard the public's ideas and concerns and needs and interests regarding the information we present and the experiences we provide. the voices we lift up, the recreational activities we host, and especially how we interpret the past and its impact on the present. We seek to tell truthful stories of all who lived here, free and enslaved, and especially lately with a focus on bringing a balance to telling those stories more fairly and in the detail provided by additional research and knowledge and study. The addition of this pavilion is the beginning of the next chapter for Locust Grove. While it's the end of a process of fundraising and building, it's just the start of what we can do in this space. Through the unique public-private, it's hard to say, partnership with Louisville Parks and Recreation, Locust Grove and its many assets and resources and histories belong to the people of Louisville. Amazingly, 96% of the funds for construction and maintenance of this pavilion came from individual donors, foundations, and other private organizations. But while the pavilion was built and will be maintained almost entirely with private funds, today we declare that this building, this facility, belongs to the people of Louisville. In addition to providing a space for Locust Grove to host our own events, such as concerts, workshops, lectures, and fairs, we're excited at the prospect for this pavilion to be used as a community space for events hosted by professional groups, arts groups, city groups, other community organizations. We also hope for the pavilion to become a venue for private special events, such as weddings and charitable galas, creating a strengthened path of rental revenue to support the operations and the upcoming educational projects that we plan. The pavilion and the associated projects also marks a step towards improving the accessibility of Locust Grove. Moving forward, we plan to continue to improve access to the rest of our grounds and our many outbuildings, as well as increase signage on the property throughout to better inform our visitors and casual guests about what they're seeing in this historic landscape, its context and its impact. While the pavilion is the first step towards completing these projects, the next phase of our transformation, because we're not done yet, includes plans to upgrade the indoor auditorium and visitor center and establish a changing exhibit space to allow us to present a variety of objects, stories, and interpretations for our audiences. So, I'm concluding. We are thankful to all of the individual donors, members, foundations, and private organizations that helped make our vision a reality. We're thankful for the hard work of our board, volunteers, and staff to make it a reality. We are thankful for the excellent work done by the architects and landscape planners who have worked with us on this project. We thank especially Louisville Metro and Louisville Parks for assisting with the project. We thank Councilman Reed for securing funds to help preserve the historic structures on our site while we were focused on the new buildings on our site. So there's more to come for the historic house. As we begin the next step of our transformation at Locust Grove, we look forward to working with the community on realizing the potential for this space and all the rest of our grounds. And we thank you all for being here. And, okay, you can clap, sorry. But we plan to cut a ribbon to just mark this moment. And if the ribbon wranglers will come forward. Then after the ribbon cutting, you're free to mingle and eat some of the excellent breakfast we've provided here.